To get us started on our first set of notes, I have some paper. We're just going to need one piece. I have two colors. You do not necessarily need something to color code or color coordinate our notes with, but it's very helpful. And then I have just something to write with. Our first section is called 1.1. So this is Unit 1 in our first set of notes, Phases of Matter. Within our notes, we have a lot of goals. First, our goal is to have something to use as a resource. So whether or not it's during a quiz, during a test, during an assignment, just for your knowledge to have something to look back to. And that's why we made our heading in a bold color so that it stands out, so it's easy to find. The second reason we're doing this as notes is so that you know how to do a proper note-taking format. There are many different ways to take notes and organize information. And as you continue through school, as you guys eventually go on to college or to a trade school or to a certification program or into the career force, you will have many times where you have to organize information. Being able to do so easily makes it easier for you to learn it. And you learning the information is really our number one main reason to do notes. We have talked about phases of matter a little bit. We've done it in different ways. So that every time we talk about it, you're getting that connection in your head between these different ideas. When we do notes today, you're going to get this information three different ways. First, you're going to see it as you're watching this video of me doing the notes. As you see it, you're going to hear it. You'll hear the notes, you'll hear the discussion. The third way is that then you write it. By doing this three different ways all at once, you're getting this information three times so that it sticks in your head. This saves us time from, reading it in the textbook and doing a worksheet and then having to do another worksheet so that you get it the three times. This kind of gives us our biggest bang for the buck. So we started off phases of matter. We're going to set this page up just to make it easier to fill in. You guys have seen this before. This is our final product. So I'm grabbing one of my colors. I'm sticking with the one I did here, and I want to do 3 circles. The circles do not have to be perfect. If you are someone that, is a bit of a perfectionist, if you're someone that in math class, whenever the teacher says, like, quickly make a table, you end up doing it a couple times because you have to have it perfect. This would be a good time for you to pause the video, which is why I pre-recorded this, so that you can have the time to get this the way you want it. Whenever you have a note page that you're happy to look at, that you're proud of, that organizes information well, you're more likely to go back and look at it. So this first circle is going to represent solids. So I just grabbed a different color. Again, you don't need this. I think it just makes it easier for it to stand out so that when I'm flipping through my notes, I'm trying to quickly figure out, what's the spacing like in a solid? These notes stand out and then the word solid stands out even more. This circle is going to represent a magnified view of a solid. So it's as if you were looking in a microscope. We want to see what it looks like at the molecular level, which means what each individual atom looks like. So we know with solids, all of the atoms are close together, packed together, and touching. I'm going to spend the minute filling in this whole circle with touching circles. You don't have to. If you want to just do half because this is kind of annoying to do, I understand. It would be enough to get the idea. But the idea we want to get from this, each one of these circles represents an atom. In maybe a month or so, when we really get down into talking about atoms, you'll see they kind of create a circular shape. And we want all of the atoms touching each other as close as possible. You can see there's a little wiggle room. There's that kind of empty space. And that allows for these atoms to vibrate and move around a little bit. Solids do have some motion, but because they're so tightly packed, they don't have a lot. And for each one of these, we're looking to put in 3 pieces of information. I'm going to draw an arrow here just to make it obvious and clear to me when I'm glancing at this quickly that this information here goes with the solid. And we'll first specify how closely the atoms are packed. So we can see closely packed atoms. Another reason we take the time to do the notes is so that we can write less. If you were reading all of this in a textbook or the online tech book, you would probably read a paragraph talking about how these are closely packed. Then you would have to read a word problem, you'd have to read some questions, you'd have to write it out in full sentences. This is saving us time. 3 words, closely packed atoms, makes it easy to write, easy to remember, easy to go back and read. Next, we want to talk about that they're moving slowly. So first we talk about how they're spaced. Second, we talk about their movement. I'm going to put it right underneath, slow moving. So there is movement. And we can even compare it to vibrating. So I'm just going to put a dash there. So if you're looking at this pen right now, we don't see it moving. I could pick it up, I can shake it. You're not going to see the pen itself move because it's a solid. But if we get that really high-tech, expensive, fancy electron microscope and we look at it, we're able to see and monitor that these atoms that make this up are slightly vibrating. And then because there is motion, that means there is kinetic energy. So this has very little, low kinetic energy. And that covers our solid. See, this took us what? A couple of minutes to get something that's easy to look back to and something that's helping us learn it quickly. That's why I'm a fan of doing notes sometimes. I'm going to go back and grab my green that I used for solid. Again, you don't need to have colors. I personally think it just makes our notes stand out. I think it makes it easier to learn from them. And this second one's going to be a liquid. Again, if at some point you feel like you're falling behind, you have this video that you can pause, you can rewind, you can watch at any time. So a liquid is not going to take up this full space. You can see in my coffee cup, all the liquid falls to the bottom. That's what we're going to try to model here. So we're going to start by drawing our atoms, kind of falling to the bottom. We want to have a little bit of space in between it, but still have them clustered together. This one's not going to take as much time. So in a liquid, the atoms are touching, they are close, but there's more space in between. That extra space in between is what allows for that movement and that motion. Draw my arrow in again. Just keeping things nice and neat and consistent. Again, just like here, we're going to first talk about the spacing between the atoms. There's just no good way to say this. I'm going to call it medium space between atoms. The liquid for almost everything is kind of medium. So in a solid, there's little to no space between the atoms. The liquid, you have medium, you have a little bit more. They have a medium speed that they move around. If you guys come up with a better way to phrase that, please let me know. This has always been the only way I could come up with to say this. Medium movement. So again, just like a bottle of water, just like a cup of tea, coffee, juice, soda, whatever you have around it, you can see it moves around, but it kind of sticks together. And then we want to, again, talk about how much kinetic energy. It has medium movement, it has medium kinetic energy. And again, kinetic energy is the energy of motion. Lastly is our gas. I'm going to go back here, grabbing my green, just because that's what I used here. Underneath, gas. Gas is going to be easy to draw. Remember, our atoms spread out as much as possible. There's nothing that ties them together or holds them together. They're just kind of flying all around. You could have some that are touching for a second as they bounce off of each other. I want to try to show that these are like flying all around. I'm going to draw little wind lines. Does that look like they're moving? I don't know. You guys are probably better artists than I am. I tried. And then I'm going to draw my arrow and get those 3 pieces of information. So this has the most space. So this has little space, this has medium space, this has the most space in between the atoms. When we're talking about the energy, when we're talking about the motion, this has the least motion, medium motion, this has the most motion. Put most motion / moves quickly. And then again, talking about our kinetic energy, this has the least amount of kinetic energy because it has the least amount of motion, because it has the least amount of space. This has medium kinetic energy because it has medium movement, because it has medium space to move. So here, this is going to have the most kinetic energy because it has the most motion, because it has the most space to move. And then I have this little space down here. I'm going to put, I'm going to box this off and put just some summarizing points. If you don't have extra space here, anywhere that you have an extra chunk of space, you can do this, or you could just put it on the back. I want to just take a second and summarize what we did. I couldn't decide what color I wanted to use. So I'm just going to make a little boxy area. I'm going to make it look pretty for a second. Again, if your notes are something you want to look at, you're more likely to look at them. So just some reminders. Kinetic energy. I did a star bullet point just so this sticks out for me. I want to remind myself that kinetic energy is the energy from motion. I'm even going to underline this for myself so that if I ever can't remember what kinetic energy is, I can easily glance back and see it.